Nice. All right, right here. Okay, so what's up with this? You have like amazing, like literally 15 girls here. What's the occasion?
We're just here.
I don't know what it is, but I like it. Who are you? Nice to meet you. What did you say?
We have mom tomorrow, that's it.
Awesome, lovely. Where are you from?
California.
I'm going there next week and my plan is to eat so much food that I explode.
Go to San Francisco.
Are you from there?
Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm assuming that's basically just warm up, just getting talking, etc. Yeah, cool. Things he did well there, actually, interestingly enough, to engage is at the start, he's very willing to just keep talking. Right, so a lot of times he'll say a sentence, and then if there's not an immediate reaction, he'll say and like continue the sentence. He doesn't just pause and wait and let her carry the conversation. Then obviously at the end, I don't think he was interested. Had he wanted to keep it going, what he would have needed to do is continue doing that. Right, he sort of left more pauses, left more silence. And kind of let it go dead at the end and then just left. But what he did as far as having something spur of the moment to open with and continuing to talk right at the start is quite good as far as just opening.
Here's like very like over the top, high five. I know this feels like very over the top and everything, but I just like to say I enjoy the hair. It looks very red. I don't know if it's real or not. No. Mine is very curly. It's inherited, but I think I was actually adopted. What's your name? Nice to meet you. Your name? Alex. Where you guys from? New York. One of my best friends is from New York, but he doesn't like it there because apparently he doesn't like the cold.
It is kind of cool. It's kind of terrible.
And I also doesn't like it here, so avoid that shit. I live in Vegas, unfortunately.
Okay, what's good? It's hard to hear a little bit, but what's good, what's bad about this particular set at the moment? There's kind of a variety of both.
Like, she's much too comfortable and he's not.
Okay, fair enough. He seems like he's like trying a little harder than she is.
Yeah,
I can go with that.
And he's standing.
Is she seated? I think she's standing. I could be wrong.
They're both standing.
Yeah. I don't see that as a big problem this early in the set, but it's something to watch for sure.
I know it's loud, so that's probably okay, but leaning in obviously isn't like the best thing, but it's loud, so it's excusable. Yeah,
it's one of those things you kind of have to deal with because of the loudness, so it'd be ideal if you didn't have to, but it's not the best. Okay, so what do I like? I like the assertive tone of voice and the tonality that he's using. It definitely like commands attention, right? It's a commanding tonality, it's strong, it's masculine, etc. I don't like quite so many questions. I do like that after the questions, he's at least following up with his own stories and his own statements. So it's not just question. So that somewhat excuses the questions and makes them a bit better, right? If you are going to follow the questions up well, then questions themselves aren't so bad. The big thing I don't like, and it's a small thing, but it's the biggest thing in this particular situation, is the general lack of eye contact and engagement on a nonverbal level. So positionally, they're sort of standing, there's two girls here, and then he should be kind of in between them or in front of at least one of them, kind of engaging with eye contact. He's kind of off to the side of one, and he is leaning and talking in her ear, which he needs to do to communicate. But between the moments when he's leaning in, he's stepping back and he's kind of gazing off, not looking at them, not looking in their eyes, that sort of stuff. So he's essentially not utilizing one of his most powerful tools, which is eye contact and engagement. First of all, if what you say it with eye contact, it's more compelling, more engaging, but especially when you're not talking. Having that eye contact is really, really critical. So I would focus on like trying to enhance that. What that basically will do, it'll do two things. Number one, it's going to communicate on a sexual level because eye contact is always positive. But the second thing is it's just going to make the entire experience more intense for the girls. Right? If there's not that intense eye contact, if there's not something gripping them in, they're more likely to get ADD, you're more likely to lose their focus, that sort of thing. Whereas if you are focusing on their eyes, even if you're not saying much, you're just going to keep their attention a bit more. So that'd be one thing I would focus on here. The verbals are actually generally good, and like I said, the tonality and attitude is very good in terms of the verbal level. But I don't like the fact that you're kind of off to the side of the set, and the fact that there is a lack of like the eye contact type of engagement.
Could you
just say to like not look at their eyes when you're talking to them, but stare in their eyes when they are talking or when you're not talking?
I don't want to say stare because that can get creepy. You'd be like, you know what I mean? But just generally know that you want significantly more eye contact with girls you are gaming than you would have in a normal conversation. Sure. Just keep that in mind and then calibrate from there. If at some point they're like, you're just staring at my eyes, you're probably doing too much. If you never get a reaction or they never like look away or blink or get nervous, you're probably not doing it quite enough. But I just go with the baseline of more than in a normal conversation and adjust from there.
It could be, but think about it. If I go out every night and I drink alcohol every night, I'll turn into a belligerent alcoholic and my mom will be very unhappy.
That is a bad thing, so I hope you don't see that.
Yeah. You actually seem very shy. Are you only the two of you together?
I'm not shy at all.
You're not shy at all.
I am very cheeky.
So this is better in terms of position. I can't see eye contact or no because his back's to us, but that's better in terms of position, if possible. It also helps to engage this one. Because if he's too far off to the one side the whole time, this girl's probably going to get disengaged. So if your voice can handle it, if your voice can carry it, this is a better position than what he had before. The exception being, if you think it's time to escalate, getting next to the girl so that you can get in, like maybe like push her hair off her ear, brush it back, breathe on her neck, see how she reacts to that. That's a good sort of test for like physical compliance. So if you're at that point in the set, I would say actually what position he was in was good. But as a general way to run the set, in front is almost always better than off to the side.
Oh, very David. I'm taking two, but I'm actually cheating on her, so.
But I wish you a lot of luck with that.
I wanted to say you probably have the most attractive girls in the club. Congratulations. Thank you. What is your name? Vesselin, what's your name?
Alexa.
Unfortunately, they're both mine. Both yours. Are you from Vegas? No, I'm not. Tommy Gamble's Aryan. Oh shit, really? I know who he is. I'm not him, but maybe one day. Yeah. Well, the only thing is you gotta get a big beard like him, and then it'll be all good. I just need the money. That's all I'm missing. Yeah. One day. You got his height as well. Thank you. Yeah. Nice meeting you guys. Very pretty. Hey, before I go, what's your name? Jessica. Nice to meet you, Jessica.
Okay, so that one, I have kind of a love-hate relationship as well. Things I love about it, I love that, number one, you're doing the set with the girls and the guys. Like most guys, like 99% of guys, maybe more, don't do that set. There's like, oh, they're with him, whatever, right? Whenever it's two girls and one guy, they're not both with him, although he claimed it in this case. I'm dubious on that claim. That's the thing I hate about the set. But or maybe not shockingly, a lot of the best opportunities you will ever have to pull are when you see one girl with two guys. Because very often, they vaguely know each other, or they know each other a little bit, or he has an interest in one of the girls, and he would love more than anything for you to take the other girl off his hands. Now, oftentimes, he'll be with the hotter of the two girls, right? But sometimes he won't. Actually, a lot of times, it'll be, maybe the hot girl's a little stuck up. The fat girl wants to get laid. She found a man. And the hot girl's pissed off and annoyed because for the first time in her life, she's the one not getting the attention. Golden opportunity. So these kind of opportunities are really, really good. And these opportunities of like the guy-girl sets or the high difficulty sets, yes, you will take blowouts. But the ones that go well will go really well. And if anything, they'll be very impressed that you even did them. So it's worth doing. If you can control your emotions and not get all bent out of shape over like taking a blowout or taking a rejection, these are some of the best opportunities you will find. So I love that he did it. The way you open, that's kind of a classic open, which is open the guy first and deal with it. What you want to be sure to do in that case is this. Open the guy is fine, but the problem here is that you open the guy in a way where it was very easy for him to engage you one-on-one without the girls overhearing or being a part of it. So you end up many times in a situation where you're just engaging directly with the guy. Now, I personally think that guy's full of shit. I could be wrong, but my baseline assumption is he's full of shit. Okay? Maybe he's just, super cool. Who knows? But that would be my assumption. The problem is when you're talking only to him and not to the girls, it's a tough assumption to test. Right? Whereas if you could talk a little to him and then engage the girls, i.e. if you would come in say the guy's here, 2 girls here, and you come in on the opposite side, so you're talking across the girls to the guy, then at any point, even if you're just talking, leaning in and talking to him, you can bounce off, and now you're engaging the whole group. You can talk amongst everybody, and you can gauge the girl's reactions to things he says. You can gauge where you're at much better. General rule in set. There's this great question to ask, which is how does everybody know each other? It's a great question to ask because it tells you how to solve the set. It tells you who's with who, what do I do, who do I need to get. The thing though is you want to ask that to a girl, not to a guy. So if you ask a guy, how does everybody know each other, he's going to tell you what he would like to be true or what he thinks will manipulate you to leave the set if he wants to leave. All right? Whereas if you ask a girl, you're more likely to get an honest answer, especially, and this is important, ask a girl who likes you. Don't ask the one that hates you in the set, ask the one that likes you, because that's when you're going to get the most likely honest answer. So what I don't like about this set is that it was too much engagement with the guy, and to be fair, like a little bit too easy on the leave. Right? If he's really with both of them and he's confident, he should have no problem with you talking to them for a minute or two, right? And the fact that he jumps in immediately with that, to me screams of like not real and insecure. So I would actually probe further, and I'd be willing to take the strong blowout if I had to here to like go after it, especially if you actually like the girls. But positives, again, great attitude. Like the way you game is so friendly and like open and happy. Like it'd be hard for people to dislike you, which is really good. Vocal tonality is good, and then doing the difficult set. So that's all really good. Could have handled the logistics of the set potentially in a way to give you a higher percentage, but I like it overall.
I like your look. Who are you?
I don't know if I do that.
You've never met anybody like me ever before, and I'm a foreign boy.
You don't seem that foreign.
Oh, I am. I was born in Bulgaria, but moved to the United States at age 9. So I don't have an accent barely.
The height difference is an issue.
I know. And you don't even have heels on.
Yeah.
I'm actually 6'1", but I'm trying to like make myself shorter so I'm like less intimidating.
No.
Who are you guys chilling? Oh! Don't push though. Don't push. Everybody's having fun. I'll meet my friends. She's very feisty.
I know.
What's going on?
She's taller than you.
The only reason I'm gonna move is because this guy's screaming in my ear. I don't like that.
I couldn't hear much. Is it like a situation you just couldn't hear him or something, or couldn't communicate?
I could hear him. She was just being like sort of bitch. She was like trying to push me away, and I tried to stay longer, but yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can't comment on that because I couldn't hear much of it. To be fair,
That's fine.
Sorry.
I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but you sort of remind me of my ex-girlfriend. I don't know if it's a good thing.
See, now that's a very interesting opener, and I like that a lot better than most of the openers I hear. What's good about that? Okay, it shows intent, it's sexual, but it's an inherent push-pull. Right, so I've talked probably to a lot of you guys, and if you've seen a lot of my material, focus, relevance, emotion, decision, how to hook a set. Right, this is going to get their focus. You're loud, you're being the center of attention, etc. It's also very engaging. But most importantly, it's relevant and emotional. So within the first sentence, you're already potentially giving yourself a chance to be most of the way to hooking the girl, right? You give yourself a very good, very high probability of getting a very good open. And that's what you really want, because you have lots of sets you can open in the night. In some ways, the worst open is the open that gets them talking to you but gets you nowhere. Because then you have to start from nothing and build everything, and it's going to take a long time, and you're going to waste a lot of time in that set finding out where you're at. Right? It's much better actually to go in with something that will either give you a very good response or a blowout, because you're going to find out quickly, and then you can be on to the next set if it's bad, and then you'll be in a good set if it's good. Right? So in terms of, if you look at the optimal night in terms of like managing your time and spending the most time in the best sets with the best girls, that type of open is very good. So it has a push-pull, it's about her, so it's relevant. And then it has some emotionality, because you're sort of judging, like you're talking about your ex-girlfriend, you're talking about putting her in that category. It's already sexualized the conversation, right?
Do you have an example of like what would get you nowhere? Some openers get you nowhere.
I feel like, asking for directions would probably, that gets you more than nowhere. Asking the time would be another one. Making a general comment about the club, be like, wow, this DJ is great, is like it'll get you somewhere, but not much of anywhere if you don't follow it up with something. And if you can continue just talking about the DJ or something like that, it really won't take you much of anywhere because it's just like too platonic, too general, and not sexual in any way. Right now, you could say, "Oh my God, this DJ is amazing," and then she looks at you like, "Oh wow, you have there's something about you," and now all of a sudden you've taken it somewhere. But it's just if you took that same line of conversation and continued it, it would pretty much go nowhere. Make sense? So those type of things are there. All right. So yeah, I like that. I like that opener as a general format. The push-pull has some emotional content. I think is a great way to start a set in general.
I don't know if it's a good thing or not, but you sort of remind me of my ex-girlfriend. I don't know if it's a good thing.
Is that funny?
Right, and notice how the immediate follow-up, the natural follow-up without even trying, it's already sexual. He's already evaluating, like, would we be good together, would we not be good together, the intent's there. And because that's there, there's always now a topic you can go back to. There's always the callback humor, always the inside joke. There's always the topic of like, would we be good together? You and me having sex as a possibility, etc. And you can have platonic conversation around it, but that core is already in the set. And he's like, what, 10 seconds in, 15 seconds, something like that.
It was decent.
It was decent.
At that
Where
point,
was she from?
she was not American.
Not American.
That's why I want to get, and actually I want to hope that you're not American. Are you? Where are you from?
Here's one extra liberty you can take, by the way. If you are doing the leaning in thing a lot, and you really want to gauge where you're at, one thing you might try is on one of the lean-ins, just lean in and like brush the hair off the ear, or do something like slightly more intimate, but that is totally in line with normal conversation, and see how she reacts to it. So because she's already reacting well, because she's already sexual, I would want to ping and see just how on she is, like very quickly. So for that reason, I might, as I lean in, maybe like brush her shoulder a little bit intentionally, or give her like even a squeeze on the shoulder, push her hair back, do something just a little more than you have done, but not so much that she could really legitimately object, and just gauge her reaction, see if she pulls away, or see if she like smiles or enjoys it, or just doesn't do anything. Because that information is going to help you a lot. If you know that the girl's really into you, then that gives you a wide range of liberties and things you can do, like sort of risky moves that aren't actually risky, right? And when you're taking risky moves, first of all, she'll give you a lot of credit for being ballsy, for being strong, for being masculine, for being that type of guy who takes what he wants. The problem is if you do risky moves at the wrong time, you get a rejection and it blows you out of the set. But imagine if you could like know in advance. It's like if you could see the future, be like, this risky move will go well, then you'd want to do lots and lots of risky moves. So what you do is you do non-risky moves that tell you that information, and then if the information is good, you can do the risky move. So I'd like to see you do that. I mean, this is like very nitpicky, because the set's obviously going really, really well. But I would want to gauge where she's at, because my immediate response here would be, this girl likes me probably a lot. I want to see if she really likes me. When I'm really feeling it, I might even like reach over and like put my hand in the back of her head and like even pull her hair a little bit as I like talk to her, even this early in the set. Now that's only if there have been a lot of positives, and what I do is like brush the hair. If that's a positive response to that, then I would go for the grab. So there's a lot of things you could do here to even amp it up, because it's already so good.
And in this one, there's a friend there that I'm about to meet in a second. So like, what would you say about doing that if there's a friend there? I mean, obviously she could be on, but you know,
I'd be careful with certain things. So something like making out might not be so good in front of the friends. The brushing the hair back thing should be totally fine in front of the friend, because it's innocuous enough. Squeezing the shoulder should be totally fine. The hair pull is a little 50-50. It kind of depends. If the friend's on the other side, oftentimes she can't even see it. So I'm okay with it. But yeah, that is a factor, because you don't want the friend to be too protective or think she's being slutty or whatever. So yeah, that definitely does factor in. If the girl's alone, I would be more apt to do those kind of things. It's a good question.
Again, actually, I want to hope that you're not American. Are you?
Yeah.
Where are you from?
I'm in Texas. So I'm all American.
You're all American.
And notice how, because the set's already been sexualized, now you can ask, how long are you here for? And first of all, that's a logistical screening question, which is good. But even if it's just like, what are you doing in town? How long are you here for? Because there's already this idea of those two as a sexual entity, even those basic boring questions are a little more charged than they would be without a sexual frame. That makes sense? So you can back off and have more normal conversation, but because the underlying frame is sexual, even that doesn't get super boring unless you continue it for a long time.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How long are you here for?
I go to school in California.
Awesome.
So
I'll be in California next week, and I plan on eating so much.
Notice how much she's laughing at shit he's saying that's not really even that funny. No offense. Like,
That's that.
it's like, yeah, it's like moderately funny-ish. It has the tone of something funny. Like she can tell you're joking, but it's not really like, this is not stand-up comedy, right? But she's like laughing her ass off. Very good indicator that she's, very good indicator that she's reacting to you and is liking what you're doing.
I have a very high metabolism, so if I eat a shit ton, then I don't have to worry about getting fat. Yeah. Hi. Who are you? What's your name? Okay. Both of you look like you're twins. Actually, sisters. Well, look, boys are very superficial, so the only thing I was actually...
So, if you recall, what was the situation with the friend? Was she talking to anybody else, or was she just kind of meandering behind her? Like, how engaged or disengaged is she?
The friend was just sitting on the little thing on top, and then she was so... Actually, a big mistake, and like a spoiler alert I made is I got so engaged with this one that sort of ignored the friend.
Yeah.
That kind of ends up messing it up. But.
Yeah, that's the reason I asked the question. I can kind of see that coming a little bit. Yeah.
I don't know how big this is, but when you do talk into a girl's ear like that, she can't look at you, you can't look at her, so it kind of, it's not as good. I feel like you can talk in a girl's ear while like being right in front of her face.
You mean like being in the side as opposed to being like front on-ish? I don't think it matters so much for that exact moment, but it does matter with what I said before, which is having eye contact at least at some points throughout the set and making sure that that's present. The other thing that is nice about doing it front on and then ear is that a lot of times you can accidentally like just brush your face against hers, and that's another one of those little tests. So for example, if you're like whispering in the girl's ear and you pull back, and it just so happens that like your cheeks touch, what I will do even there is I'll just lean into it just ever so slightly, so it's very clear there's like cheek contact, and I'll see how she reacts. And if like I brush my cheek all the way back and she doesn't respond, I probably won't kiss her right then, but I will know that like she's very comfortable having my head very near hers, and it's probable that I can probably kiss her sometime soon. All right, so it's another one of those nice easy tests, whereas if you're coming in from the side, it's very hard to do that. So I'd be looking for that opportunity. In terms of the like, is this angle better, is that angle better? The answer is usually it depends. It depends on the tone of the set, it depends on other factors, and it depends on what the set needs. If the set needs more intense and more sexualization, then obviously being front on and having that contact stuff going on is very positive. If the set actually needs more comfort and more just get to know you, then being in this kind of context actually could be better as well. So it's not like a better or worse. It's just think about like what the message you're conveying to her is, and not even what the message you're conveying is, what the total experience of you is for her, right? Think about the experience you're giving her. Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it be possible now just to move her around just a little bit, 5 feet? Something?
The friend would be a problem for that. I would like that if she was by herself, for sure. With the friend there, I don't like it. With the friends, what I was actually going to stop and ask this is what would be your next plan?
My next plan, if I could find somebody to wing me, one thing, or just be kind of like step up the intensity, just focusing so much on her and just kind of engage both of them. You know, obviously more flirtation with this one, but kind of feeling with the other one.
Yeah, definitely. So I would go a couple different ways. If this girl seems really on and the friend seems bored, I might even try like I guess you call it like a gambit or whatever. You try to like the risky play of trying to get her to come meet your friends, with the idea being we're going to find a friend for your friend. You might even, if she's really on, try like a little conspiracy thing where you're like, hey, you know what, I like you, but you know, I can tell, you know, you're here with your friends, and pretty soon your friend's going to get bored, and then I'll have to leave you, and that'll be sad. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to play matchmaker. We're going to find a guy for your friend. What's her type? What's she looking for? Let's see if we can do this. And you actually make a game out of it, make something out of it. And the great thing about that is, A, it keeps the other friend engaged. B, it makes her, if you're trying hard and working for her, it's hard for her not to like you a little bit. But C, and this is really kind of like clever, and I like it, is that if she's working to find someone for her friend, she's implicitly agreeing with you that you two are trying to hang out later that night, right? She's making that agreement with you. And so she's sort of logically complying to, I will go home with this guy, right? And it's very subtle, but if you seed that into the frame early on, it can only grow within the set. So I like all those things. So yeah, bringing someone over to wing is good. If you have a reliable way to find your friends quickly, if you move them somewhere, moving them to your friends can sometimes be even better. Because now you're leading, you're bringing them into your world, etc. Now that only works obviously if you know where your friends are. Like if you've established like a home base, or you happen to know you have like a table or an area where a bunch of people are gathered, something like that. Without that, it can be a little more dicey. So yeah, getting someone on the friend would be helpful. Barring that, if you have to, engaging the friend yourself would work, but be careful because this is a very fairly sexually onset from the get-go, and there's a high level of arousal. If you spend too much time and energy on the friend and ignore this girl to a bit, or you just let the intensity wane, she'll notice that relative lack of arousal to what was there before, and that can turn the girl that you're gaming off. So you have to be very careful of that as well. Girls typically don't notice the emotional state they're in per se. What they notice is the change in emotional states. So if they were feeling shitty and they feel a little less shitty, they love you for it. If they're feeling like amazing and now they feel just damn good, they're like, what the fuck happened? Why don't I feel amazing anymore? So the great thing and the dangerous thing with a set like this is that because it started very, very well, you kind of are forced to keep the intensity up. So you either need to continue having like a high amount of like emotional spikes and like sort of like intensity to the interaction, or you need to get her chasing in some way, which makes it feel intense for her, even as the emotional, or even as like the amount of calories being burned in the set goes down. Does that make sense? So those are things I'd be thinking about at this point. Not really thinking about, like sort of innately intuiting and feeling in the set.
I'm adopted, but I don't want to believe her.
Like, I'm gonna choose somebody that's not real.
Huh?
Like, I'm gonna choose somebody that's not real.
I don't know. Sometimes I like to live in a fantasy. Yeah.
Where are you from?
I live in Vegas. Yeah.
Do you like it? Yeah.
I am. Well, I was born in Bulgaria. It's kind of like a boring story, but I moved here when I was 9. I did not know any English, and I was forced to learn the hard way.
Yeah, so at this point, this is very cheesy, but what I might try something like here would be, I would actually just profess to her the fact that I like her, but with a lot of disqualifiers, and then sort of get her plotting with me how we're gonna like make tonight work for us. So I might do like the whole, I have to tell you, I really like talking to you. You're much cooler than I expected. Now, I'm not saying we should make the sex tonight or anything. I think we should keep it slow and take it easy and all that. I'm just like, treat me like a man and not a piece of meat, please, even though I've said this. But I am enjoying hanging out with you. I'd like to keep doing it, but I think your friend seems really bored, and I don't want this to be a situation where she ends up getting pissed off at us in like 10 minutes or something. So let's see. Is your friend social? Would she, like, if I found an acute, amazing guy for her, would she appreciate that? Or would she be like, no, I have like 10 husbands and like I don't need any more? Or you just like say some stuff like that that's a little outrageous, a little outlandish, but you're assessing the situation, you're finding out what the deal is, etc. And then you'll see if she's like, no, she's just having she's just in a bad mood. That's one thing. If you find out, she has a boyfriend, she's very like loyal and whatever, then maybe you need to find like a fun and non-threatening guy, right? You find like some like gay-looking guy to talk to her or something like that. Or you find a guy who's just like, who will wing for you because he owes you one, but will not escalate and is just like a fun, like even maybe a guy who's a little too entertaining even. Or if you find out that, she is looking, then that's your opportunity to bridge that gap and bring her to your friends, that kind of stuff. So I'd start fishing for information, and I would also, again, start creating the idea of you and her together. Because especially if the friend's not down, the less on the friend is, the more on she needs to be, and especially the more logically on she needs to be. Not just emotionally aroused, but the more she needs to have made some sort of decision in your favor. Right? So that the sort of like inverse whatever. If the friend is totally loving you too, this girl doesn't need to be anywhere nearly as on because the friend's not going to drag her away.
Wait, so I feel like I'm speaking English better than you are. That's a challenge.
That's my only language and my first language. I think I'm okay.
Oh wait, so you don't speak other languages?
So here, she does look bored, but she does keep looking over. So I think if you were to engage her a little bit, that probably would make a big difference.
Oh, fuck. I speak German and a little bit of Bulgarian. So. Huh?
Yeah, she keeps looking over like, please engage me. Please engage me.
I don't know what it was. I totally
She's like a little dog looking for her food bowl.
I was hoping so. I was hoping you would be. She was not from Texas. What is this? Italian. Yeah. A what? Cool.
Here's another one you can do if this one's disengaged, but you need to continue sexualizing with this girl, is instead of flirting directly with her, flirt through the friend. So instead of like, for example, as a line you could throw out, be like, yeah, I think you're trouble, I don't know if you're good for me. You could take the friend and be like, hey, you guys are good friends, right? Okay, you have to tell me, can I trust this girl? I like her, I'm enjoying her, but I'm not so sure. Fill me in. And then her response will tell you a lot. And at the very least, it engages her. So on the one hand, you're keeping her engaged. On the other hand, you're bringing her into the drama and you're heightening the sexual experience. So that's all really, really good. And again, what you're doing is you're establishing this we frame around you and the girl. All right, so there's a lot of these subtle things that I'm suggesting is all about establishing this sort of like bubble of love frame, the sort of like we are together. It's you, like we are an entity and the rest of the club is this outside entity. So that's very, very helpful as well.
This is my wound. I have battle scars. From Vegas. Is it just the two of you here together in Vegas, or are you?
No, we have a bunch of a group of us. They're upstairs.
Just a second. Hold on, 2 seconds. I forgot. I just want to hug. Nice meeting you. I'll probably see you around. Maybe never. You never know.
If that one I had a wing that I could just send over to her, to the other one.
Yeah, that would help. It would have helped if it was earlier, to be fair. About a minute ago would have been a lot better than now, but it's still salvageable. The other thing too, as much as I don't believe in phone numbers in Vegas, I would have potentially considered doing a phone number with that one to like be like, hey, you know what, let's meet up later in the night. I have actually a bunch of friends, so if I happen to meet you, maybe your friend could meet one of them, that kind of thing. So A, solve the problem for her for later so that she feels like it won't just be the same scenario again, but then B, get some kind of close. Just because the clubs are relatively big, you might not see her again, that kind of stuff. And also, if you do close in some way and then you see her again, she sees you as the person who she already like gave a number to, so she's already again made a logical investment and she likes you. As much as again I don't do phone numbers in Vegas, in that situation where she's being dragged away but it's fairly early in the night, and it was pretty on, then I would consider taking a phone number or consider doing a phone number there.
What's your mindset on taking phone numbers in Vegas? You don't like it?
I don't like it because I want to pull. I don't want to be pursuing phone numbers. I don't want to be dealing with that kind of stuff. The phone numbers can pan out sometimes, but I've had too many experiences where they end up being a waste of time. And I've also had a lot of experiences. Well, I've had 2 experiences basically that turned me off phone numbers. One is the experience of the girl's down to sleep with you, or seems down to go home with you, but then you exchange numbers, and all of a sudden she's like, "You should go on a date with me." So I want to avoid that at all costs. I want to avoid this whole like long-term boyfriendy, providery thing. That's number one. Number 2 thing I want to avoid, and this you can avoid other ways, but I don't like the girl that comes here for a week, gives you her number the first week, and then wants to date you like for an entire week, and then decide whether to sleep with you at the end. And I've had a few very hot girls sort of like string me along that way. When I was my first few trips to Vegas, and I really don't like that. I don't like wasting several nights on one girl who's kind of like likes me clearly, but is like playing games and is in it for like the experience. She wants that like grand Vegas romantic experience with this man who she'll know for a week, and like, which is fine. I get that. Like, it sounds pretty cool actually from her end, but I'm just not down for that. So I don't like that as well. I think that I will take a number if the reason why we separated is not the girl's fault, and if there's some sort of reasonable expectation that she's there long enough or we have free time or something can happen. So if those 2 factors are met, I will. So in this case, she clearly likes him and she's being dragged away. She's not leaving voluntarily. So there's a decent chance that if she really likes him, she will follow up and things could go well. If, on the other hand, it was just kind of a lukewarm set, kind of blah, didn't have a lot to it, I wouldn't really push for the number. I'd be like, well, if I see her again, I'll resuscitate it. I won't have had to try and like close at that point, so it'll just be casual again and I can take it somewhere from there. So those would be the two criteria. Is there a legitimate chance of meeting up? And is it like plausibly on her end, was she not the one avoiding sex? If it's her friends or logistics or something else, but she seems down, then I'll consider taking the number. So that's just kind of the criteria I have. Now that said, like if it's a lost cause anyway, if there's no way you're going to pull anyway, like, there's nothing lost by taking a number. She may as well. But I typically have it in my head of pull or nothing, and I think having that mentality is helpful as well.
Yeah. So you always push for the pull, and if that doesn't happen, then maybe number.
Exactly. And in other cities, less so. Like in like a more business-oriented city or a city where you're going to see people that have normal jobs, people that are here for more than a week at a time or a few days at a time, I lean more towards taking numbers in those situations. But just in Vegas, it just, I think your time is better spent trying to pull at the club and then settling.
For the girls here.
Yeah, and well, you have to understand, even if the girl likes you, she probably is traveling with people. Those people have plans. It's hard to get her to leave those people and those plans, and it's just, it's more of an uphill battle here than in other places, I think.
Approach the makeout set. I don't mean to interrupt, but that was the most passionate I've ever seen it. It's good. Thank you. It reminds me of my relationship like 5 years ago. I've been single ever since. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I try so hard. Yeah. That's why you're here, right? Yes, well, I live here actually. Oh, I do. Awesome, shit. Good shit. I live in a big Ferris wheel. Yeah. Vegas. Yeah. Where do you guys live?
Spring Valley.
Cool. Very nice. 5 months. Yeah. How about Newbie? How about?
Okay, so again, pretty decent. First of all, the fact that you do the set in the first place, amazing, awesome. Because again, almost nobody does. So that in and of itself is great. The way you handle it and get in is pretty good. It's like on the surface you're kind of qualifying yourself to the guy, but really you're not because you're just joking around. So that's totally fine. What I would do though is once you're actually in the set, once you've been accepted into the set, I would sort of start to zone in a bit on the girl and sort of like cut the guy out a little bit. Make it just awkward enough for him where you're not being rude, but you are carrying the conversation. You are being the center of attention. Right? So you don't want to push that boundary where you're being overtly rude and he's like, okay, buddy, that's enough. You can go, right? But you want to be just on that line where it's like he's like a little nervous and he's not quite sure. And then you just keep being a little bit more the center of attention than him, a little bit cooler than him, holding attention more, doing those things I said earlier, which is the eye contact, all the subtle cues that are like not socially wrong, but do convey man to woman, and then gauge where you're at from there. And a lot of times actually, if they are making out hard in the club, there's a very good chance they aren't actually boyfriend-girlfriend. There's a very good chance they just met or they met a little while ago or something. So a lot of times you can steal the buying temperature. Like it's not like a committed logical decision on her part to be with him. It's sort of like I'm in the moment, I'm having fun, I'm partying. So it's an emotional thing and you can sort of like steal that. Number two, even if you don't win her over per se, if you just frustrate the guy and make him nervous, oftentimes he'll start digging his own grave. He'll start acting overly reactive, or he'll start being weird, or he'll just like get in his own head and shut up and just let you run the set. But in order for that to happen, you need to actually zone in on the girl a bit. So yeah, you want to do basically think whatever is like the edge of politeness and just step ever so slightly over it in a sexual way, but only ever so slightly. Where he's like, well, you know, he's not really hitting on my girl. He's just like a fun, like sort of sexual guy, but he's not actually hitting on my girl. And then like the girl starts to like you, and then he's like, well, you know, she likes him, but you know, he seems innocent. He's not really trying. He'll just go away in a minute. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to be reactive. And then pretty soon you have all the attention. And now if he steps in, like he's like, just stop it, and then she's like, no, he's cool, he's being fun, and now she's taking your side, right? So it's just that subtle, like he just subtly loses it before he kind of knows what's happening.
Yeah, and that one he was being, pretty engaging with me, so it's easy to be engaging back with them. So what I didn't want to do is, like what you were saying, kind of like writing that line. I didn't necessarily in that particular moment in time know how to like do it in a way that wouldn't be like totally overtly like being.
You
a dick.
can joke. Well, you are overtly being a dick to begin with. Let's be real. You're like overtly going in and stealing his girl. So you are overtly being a dick. But what I would do here is if he's engaging a lot with you, you can engage with him through her. So in the same way that we were talking before with the two girls, you can engage with the hot one through the obstacle. In this case, you can engage with the obstacle through the hot one, right? So you can just flip back and be like, oh, this guy's awesome. I love this guy. Like, and then you can say these things that are like, this is a sweet man. This is the kind of guy that will like, you know, he'll bring you flowers. He'll like bend over backwards. Like, I love this guy. The world needs more men like him. Like stuff like that, where you're sort of like, you're putting him in the chode frame, but you're doing it in like the most positive way possible.
Yeah.
But she's gonna laugh, she's gonna find it funny probably, and he's gonna like, either if he's a chode, he'll think it's a compliment. If he's not, he might try and resist it or be like, no, I'm not that type of guy. But if he's resisting it, now he's trying to qualify too hard, he's working too hard, you're the cool one, he's, you know, you see how you can subtly flip it?
Yeah.
So those are the types of things I would do. Understand that in order to game the girl, at some point you need to game the girl. So the girl needs to be engaged. So what you've done here, you've done the hard part actually. You've done the hard part, which is get into the set. And in a lot of ways, the guy-girl sets are harder because you have an obstacle and you have a guy directly competing with you and stuff. In a way, though, they're easier. And the reason that they can potentially be easier is that if you're talking to a girl by yourself, she's thinking, am I going to sleep with this guy or not? Right? If you're talking to a girl with another guy and she sort of likes him a little bit, now she's suddenly thinking, which one do I prefer? Not am I going to, but which do I prefer? And so it becomes an either or, not a yes, no. Okay? So that actually can play to your benefit a little bit. And especially if you can get the guy like reactive. Like I've had guys, you know, like start like yelling and screaming and getting out of sorts. I once had a guy like throw a punch at me and like I ducked it, like I looked at, this is actually one of the most dickhead moves I ever did was a situation like this. I was on the casino floor and it was this couple, not couple, but they had been together for hours and hours and hours, if not like maybe more than one day, just like exploring Vegas, doing their thing. And they were clearly like drunk into the night, happy, like they were finally gonna go home and like consummate their like Vegas thing or whatever. But the guy was a bit of a chode. So I was talking to him and I basically just like talked to him for a second and then engaged the girl and like semi-ignored the guy. And then he kept like trying to like butt in or whatever, but then I just like, you know, said like little flippant things. So it was like polite and kind, but whatever, and then cut him out. And then at one point he kind of got in my face a little bit, and I just like laughed at him. And then he actually like physically took a swing at me. And at the time I was like doing Krav Maga, so my instincts were very good. So actually like he swung, I ducked under the punch and I grabbed him by the throat. And I'm like, you leave now or I kill you. What's it gonna be? And he ran off. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe he swung at me, it's fucked up. Anyway, are you okay? Okay, walked off with the girl, right? But yeah, basically, like, I mean, it's pretty, like, he's got to be pretty scared. Like, he literally swung, I ducked under, grabbed him by the throat. Really? Like, this was just years ago. I think it was in the MGM lobby before, like, all the Hakkasan stuff and that kind of stuff. One of those lobbies. But yeah, it's, I don't even know where I came up with that or I kill you shit, but I'm like, just like in the moment, that seemed like the right thing. Yeah.
All right, I have a quick question. All right, so nails on a chalkboard, guys like yourself. This actually happened to me the other night. This girl, I got her body temperature up. She was so into me. Mm-hmm. But then someone who actually knew what they were doing, like heaven forbid, came over, put his arm around her, really started engaging her. Mm-hmm. I'm like one of those guys, like gets in his head when that happens. Because I don't want to be reactive. I never do that. But like, how do I do that? Because now he's on the girl, and it just all goes...
Okay, so there's two things. First of all, if she's very receptive to him doing that, then it's tough. And if she's very receptive to him doing that, that means either her body temperature was literally through the roof or they have some kind of history, which makes it even tougher. So it's not easy. The best solution to that actually is in how you are running your set when the guy's not there. Most guys I know run sets where they're basically like, if the chair was the girl, they're standing like next to the girl and there's this big open space that's just this invitation saying, come please steal her from me. right? Instead, what you should be doing is like with the girl, face on, maybe hands, like holding hands here, hands around her, in close, like even like pulling her hair, like up fucking in her grill, right? In those kind of situations, a guy can't really do that. What, he's gonna come up and like put an arm around her when like you're already like have 2 arms around her and you're here? You just be like, bro, no, right? And just pull her away. Or in that case, if it's already that good, and he puts an arm around, be like, you can pick her up, be like, and she won't even recognize or acknowledge she's there. So that gives you a lot more leverage. So the first thing is, don't run your sets in such a way that you're inviting men into your set. And that's actually one of the biggest things you can do. The second thing you can do is, so don't invite him in. Secondly, be more physical in general, even in a non-logistical way. And then the third thing you can do is physically take her back, but only in an extremely playful way, not ever in a forceful way. And the other thing you can do is sort of cut in physically a little bit. So if he does arm around like this, you could put arm around inside of him and just like put your back to him, so to speak, right? Especially if you're already there, right?
So what happens?
Be like, baby, do you just attract weird men? What is this, right? Is this what I'm gonna have to deal with when we're together?
Oh man.
Right, so you can deal with like things like that. But if the guy is confident enough to do that and gets a good reaction from her on doing it, oftentimes either he's in massive state, or oftentimes there's history there, and that's what makes it tough. Is not necessarily that like it's hard to deal with per se. It's that there's enough history, because most guys without history with a girl will not be entitled enough to do that.
No, it was good.
So yeah. So that's a bit of a tougher one than usual. Most times if it's just coming in the way vested, which is like more verbal, what you can do is just sort of like take up a position where you're physically somewhat between the guy and the girl, and then you make the guy talk to you, and then you just like, oh yeah, oh, awesome man, cool, nice to meet you, yeah, you're really cool. Anyway, yeah, we have to go, but thank you, right? And then back to the girl. And you just sort of like politely dismiss him. So that tends to be really an easy way to do it in general. You'd prefer not to get into a back and forth where you're directly competing with the guy if you're the guy who's already there. If you're the guy coming in and the other guy's established, you'd love to get into a back and forth where it's just about who's cooler. So, I mean, if you have the advantage, you'd rather like just get rid of him like sooner rather than later in like a fun, not a big deal way. If you don't have the advantage, you're just looking for a little foothold and a little more and a little more and a little more until you have the advantage, at which point you're looking to get rid of the guy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm in that gray zone where I'm not really a local, but I'm not really a tourist yet either. Yeah, 6 more months and I'll be good.
Kind of closer to the guy than the girl? Yeah. There's no reason you couldn't be equal onto both.
Yes. Yes? Yeah. I wanted to say hi to you. Well, who are you looking for? No, don't even lie, say me.
Hi.
Where are you from?
San Francisco. Manhattan. New York.
I was gonna hope you're an American girl.
I am an American girl.
Are you?
Where are you from?
I live in Vegas, unfortunately.
Oh my goodness.
Well, the thing is, I go out a lot, so my mom told me not to drink a lot of alcohol, so I'm trying to like pay attention. Obviously, I don't have anything in my hand right now.
I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna go back and show you a moment a second ago here.
I wanted to say hi to you. Well, who are you looking for? No. Don't even lie, say me.
Okay, so this is all very positive. This is all good. Eye contact here would be better than going back in to the shoulder thing. Okay, right there. Do you see that thing where you like sort of like crossed her face there, and you're like super close, like where it looks like you could almost kiss if you had to? What I would sort of try there, if I were you, just to check, because if this works, it's going to be super on, super fast, would be don't lean in enough to kiss. Lean in just enough that your noses touch, and just gauge what she feels about that, and like try and like just do like the sort of like the Eskimo kiss, the unannounced Eskimo kiss, and just brush your nose across and see how she responds. And if the girl actually goes with that, I would be thinking immediately this girl's super on. Like if she goes with that and doesn't immediately pull away, I would be thinking this girl's very on. I'm looking for an opportunity to keep her away from her friends, get her to maybe quick drink, maybe outside of the club within very quick. I mean, that's very aggressive, right? We were talking within like 30 seconds of opening the set. But her body language is good. She's very comfortable with proximity to you. So I would actually try something like that. And again, it's subtle because if it seems like an accident, right? So if she's not there, you're not going to ruin a good set by having done it. So I really, really love those like subtle escalations that can tell you right where you're at. So like when you're this close, that's like a great opportunity to just accidentally lean in just a little bit, especially not directly, lip to lip, but especially like when you're sort of like half side on, where it's not like actually a risk of a kiss. She almost accidentally kissed you there. That's about the moment when I'd like accidentally almost kiss with physicality.
I was gonna hope you're an American girl.
I am an American girl.
Are you?
Where are you from?
I live in Vegas, unfortunately.
By the way, that's not to say that it'll always work, but when it does work, the rewards are well worth it.
Well, the thing is, I go out a lot, so my mom told me not to drink a lot of alcohol, so I'm trying to like pay attention. Obviously, I don't have anything in my hand right now. Where are your friends and where were you rushing to prior to meeting me? You know what? So far, you're my favorite person I've met tonight.
She seems highly unconcerned with the friends. That's generally good, right? She likes you, positive, seems highly unconcerned with the friends, is staying with you even though she's not like super giggling, which is good, right? I mean, she's like sort of semi-logical state of mind staying with you. So this all looks good. Now, it's not to say obviously everything's good. There's a lot of screening to do, who knows, but this set looks the way I would want a good set to look at the start.
What's your name?
My name is Bess.
Gus?
Bess, B-S-S.
I'm Erin.
Huh?
I'm Erin.
You're what?
Erin.
Aaron.
I have 9 related.
How many?
9.
9.
Because she's super close to you, I just reach around and hug her. And again, see how she reacts to it. Because it's just right at that like edge of socially normal that you can't, the way this interaction is going, as friendly as it is, no one could say you're rude to hug her in this context. So you've crossed a threshold where you can try that and see where it goes. And you'll see very quickly, right? If you hug her and then you like sort of like let it be slightly loose and she falls back against your arm away from you, that's not good. If you hug her and you loosen it slightly and she stays like pressed against your body, that's good. All right, so it's another great opportunity to see where you're at. And also, if you are in a good spot, escalate it very quickly. And if in this situation you try and hug her and she's like tiny percent uncomfortable with the hug, there's enough positivity in this set that that's not gonna blow you out of the set. It might set you back 30 seconds or something, but it's not gonna blow you out. Make sense? And even that's unlikely. Even the setting you back's unlikely.
How many?
9.
9. Well, listen. I have 9 boys with me, and they're all my bodyguards. So,
Are you guys good at dancing or not?
well, I don't think they're dancing, but they're roaming around somewhere. I like your eye color, but I don't think I can actually see it very well.
I feel like this is American.
Huh? What's a pickup line?
Alright, find me again in a little bit.
Alright, see you.
Yeah. There's two things interesting. First of all, she said those two with you and kind of like indicated like the guy's hovering, which is probably like not helpful.
No.
And then you said something, yeah, is that your pickup line or something like that, right?
Yeah.
My guess is she kind of threw the shit test out at you and then I wouldn't say you failed it. You're like, what's a pickup line, right? You that's not like a terrible response, but it's not a great response.
Yeah.
Like, how many people in this room don't know what a pickup line is? How many people in the club don't know what a pickup line is? All right, so you're playing dumb to it, but it's like kind of like try hard dumb. So I think what happened there is she gave you the shit test and you sort of like semi failed it, and then she's like, oh, okay. So funny enough, you weren't actually doing anything cheesy, but the fact that you failed that shit test about being cheesy like made you cheesy. And she's like, okay, yeah, find me later. I think it might even be as simple as that. Also, the possibility of like the weirdness of two guys hovering around you may have factored in as well. Yeah.
Do you think when she walked off it'd be okay to like pull her back in? Like no.
I would have tried once. Again, big club theory, as in like you won't find her for sure, so you may as well. I certainly would not have let her go quite that easily, for sure.
But her state was totally different in the beginning, and kind of in the middle it changed, and then they didn't have that eye contact going on. They were just talking into each other's air, and the girl was just looking away, and somewhere in the middle it shifted.
It sort of...
Where are the friends, and she shifted out of that state.
It's possible. It's possible making her logically think about the friends was part of it. It's possible that you just missed a window. Like she was very aroused in that window, and then once the conversation became more normal, now she went back into normal conversation mode instead of hot guy who's like breathing on my face mode. Does that make sense?
I want to ask a question. What do you think when she brought up the topic of dancing? It seemed like she brought it up on purpose, almost like she wanted him to take her to go dance.
That's possible. I would have considered that. I didn't hear all of that. I think she was talking about them dancing in a certain way, or sort of like it was sort of like a making fun of kind of thing. But it certainly
she was saying her friends were dancing.
Oh, your friends are dancing. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Either way, like she brought it up, like I don't know. That's what I look at. It's like.
I need you to high five me. I like your fun. I like your energy. What's your name? Nice to meet you. Hi. God, you look so Canadian.
Quick thing on this one. What position relative to the girls would be better than where you're at? Somebody said it. Yeah, somebody said in front of them, right?
Yep.
So you did it well, but you made the cardinal sin of stopping the back girl, not the front girl. And so what happens is they have momentum going this way, which is away from you. So if at any point you can, if you could pull this girl in and get in front of them, or at least pull them back so that their momentum is sort of coming back the other way again, that will make them stop much more likely and actually stay there. So that's something I'd be thinking. Because as of right now, if you look at the, do you guys know the word attitude? Like if you like the attitude of a car is like when it's turning, like the car like its weight shifts a little bit. So the attitude of the set, like the weight shift of this set, is away from you, right? So you would like the weight shift to be towards you.
Yeah, you are. Okay, before you run away with your friends, where are you from?
How the long set at the end? How long is it?
It's pretty long. I mean, so number 15.
15?
Yeah.
And that's the last one?
Yeah.
Let's see. So we're at currently 11:06. All right. Let's see where we're at. Oh, yeah, that 15 is long. Okay. Oh, this is lobby.
Yep.
All right. Let's look at a lobby set. Why not?
I was seeing a girl that was a full decision today. She was not naked, but she, she didn't move dancing at all. Which is like more artistic type stuff. It's not like the naked stuff.
Yeah, you really need to
The eye contact thing.
face to face.
Cool.
How long have you known your friends for? How long have you known your friends for?
Are you guys going to access?
For how long? Yeah.
He had like shit to do. Yeah.
Shut up.
It's weird. Hi. I like your nose ring.
Food is?
Food? It's everywhere.
You wanna go?
I want to go to food.
What's your name?
Cafe, or do you wanna?
I want the fastest food you could possibly get. I just need food, really.
Believe it or not, there's a McDonald's here.
I don't like McDonald's. I don't eat fast food.
Yeah, fuck McDonald's.
I really don't.
Really? There's no way there will be one here. What's your name?
I'm Haley.
Nice to meet you, Haley.
What's your name?
Ves.
Ves. What's your
Yes.
name? What's your name? Justin. Haley. What's your
Hi,
name? What's
Ves.
your name?
Peter.
Tina.
How you doing? This guy is.
That was okay.
I'm obsessed with my phone. Focusing on it. Yeah, it's so needy.
Jeez. Are you guys going to access?
Vegas. Where are you guys from? Came back.
Yes.
About to settle down.
Australia.
Awesome. Settling down.
I spoiled my little game. What's wrong with you?
How many of these girls are there? Is it 2 or 3?
Just 2.
Just 2? Okay. Got it. I thought it was 2, but then it seems like there's, okay, anyway. Seems like there's one girl in 2 places.
It's very good. It's quite loud. However, it's a lot of fun. I don't know which DJ it is, but it's, I'm enjoying it. I can get back in there shortly, but I just wanted to, see someplace quieter. Where are you from?
I'm from Montana originally.
Oh, cool.
But I live here now. Yeah.
Me too, actually. I do live here. I forgot, yeah. I live here.
Did you see what Justin did there just a second ago?
2 pantsers and 3 pantsers.
What?
Say like 2 pantsers, 3 pantsers.
I have no idea what he said because he's not mic'd. Maybe that's what he said. I just like what he did with the hand, which is he took that the hand coming across and he just sort of like cradled it and turned it into a potentially sexual gesture. That's sort of along the same lines of those like little tests, right? You take the girl's hand and you just see, right? Especially if the girl's like waving her hand aimlessly, you just kind of like aimlessly grab it and like lightly aimlessly grab it and you just see, does she keep her hand in yours? Does it drop into yours or does she like pull away? And either way, what you did was super playful, so there can be no real objection. But it tells you a lot where you're at. And again, not only does it tell you where you're at, but if you are in a good place, it escalates things nicely.
I lived here for like 5 months. By the Ferris wheel.
By the link?
Yeah.
No, not for
It's called the Meridian.
Right there, though, that would be like just a tiny bit too much. Was she laughing, giggling, going away? That means I like you, but I don't necessarily trust you yet.
I was actually pulling her away from the shot. That's what I was doing.
Funny enough. But so right there, what I would do actually, you know how you like, she went and you like let her go and then pulled her back in? I'd even let her go just slightly more because she's clearly liking it. She's not actually gonna leave on that. So like call her bluff a little bit, let her go away and then just have the patience to bring her back. It'll make you seem just that little bit less needy and try hard and make the dynamic of who's chasing who more in your favor. It's very subtle, but like it's definitely there.
You live at the Meridian?
Yeah. How do you guys know each other?
We lived in San Diego together.
Okay, cool. I am,
Food. We need food.
It's actually over there. Do you want to walk with us? We're actually going to get back on the way to, Excess. He's a professional salsa dancer.
I'm a professional.
Are you? Really? I took 1 month of...
So yeah, I really like the general physicality of that though. Very, very nice to have that already. I also like the fact that you guys are essentially, you're taking the path of least resistance, which is they're hungry. You're taking them, at least theoretically at this moment, towards food. You can always change plans later. But I like the fact that you did it in like not a totally needy way. Right when they mentioned it, it was like a little like, yeah, we should go. But then when they weren't matching that enthusiasm of, oh yes, like for sure, let's do it, when it was kind of like so-so, then you guys chilled out, relaxed, had a little normal conversation, and then led. And I do like the fact that you guys are leading, so that's good. That transition was quite well handled overall.
1 month doesn't really qualify me as being a pro, but...
What are you from the shop?
No. Salsa. I wanna be pro. Who are you on the phone with?
We just met, so...
I don't like I'm gay. I like vagina.
Yeah?
Gay. I fucking love vagina.
That was close.
I don't like the cafe because the cafe guy or the guy in ballet.
What do you do in Vegas?
Right now I don't do anything.
Huh?
Right now I don't do anything.
Homeless and unemployed. That's how it is.
That's how it is. I just got out of the Navy, so I
Oh
deserved
shit.
it.
Really? So you're like sailing ships and shit?
Exactly.
Nice. Very nice.
Not that I like teasers and spoilers, but what's the general scope of this set? Because we have 8 minutes till Paul gets here, I'd like to look at the more critical moments. Because the walk to somewhere, I have a good hunch you'll get to somewhere. But what happens then?
What would you say? So essentially, kind of turned the other girl. I think she really didn't like me, and I think I know why.
Okay.
And it sort of kind of fizzled off as soon as they said to eat. I've had that happen many times before. That's why I really don't like food. But you're right, I did it because it was the path of least resistance. But as soon as they started, eating food.
Yeah, food is definitely a pull killer.
Yeah.
So there's two things that can happen. If you think that you don't know each other well enough yet, then food actually can be okay, especially if it's early enough in the night that you can have like extra plans after the food, right? If it's end of the night and they're tired already, food is like kind of blah, we were in party mode, now we're in like I feel fat and greasy mode, right? So in that context, it's not good. But how could it be handled better? Well, there's a few ways. One is find a place where the food itself is relatively quick, and also there's the opportunity to keep moving around while doing food. Example of that might be, I haven't actually tried this one, but it could be potentially, if you walk out, this is Win Encore, right? Yeah. If you walk out of Win Encore, there's that little like taco place that's like a street corner taco place. It's not super nice, but it is like outdoorsy, and I assume the food's pretty fast. And so you could kind of do the food as and you could sell it on the way. Be like, we're gonna take you for food, and then I want to take you to like my favorite place in Vegas to like just like look at the view while we eat, something like that, right? And so you get the food to go, and then you take them to a follow-up venue, possibly maybe even if they have like food and drink there, get like alcohol or get whatever other like beverage or reason for going to another place. And then you say, I'll take you to this place or whatever. Another one I used to do, if I would do dates and the girl like really was like, I want to do food or whatever. This was back when we were staying over at Meridian and stuff, but I'd meet them at Tuscany at the Mexican place, and I'd get the food to go, and then I'd go eat it with them back at Meridian, that kind of stuff. So that's one you can do. So you can use the food as a bridge in and of itself. Be like, actually, I know, or you can say, I know this really good place for food, especially if there's other late night places that you can get it to go, or it's like a quickie type of a thing. So that's one. The other one you can do potentially is, if you have access to it somehow, is do some kind of order in. If you're like, actually, do you guys like pizza? Let's order pizza. Or I know this great place that like delivers Thai. We'll be like, I know this place we can sit out and they'll just like deliver it to us. It's totally cool. Like that kind of thing, that can work. Or you can start off with food and then on the way just get distracted, be like, oh, have you seen this place? And then just fucking completely forget the food and try and just take them to XYZ place. Because at the moment when, or you can do like light snack on the way, be like, oh, let's go to this place, actually grab a light snack. I know the place we're gonna eat later, but just grab the snack now and then come with me and we'll get real food later or whatever. So there's all kinds of ways you can adjust it so you don't end up in that sitting situation. Because sitting over a large meal while you're waiting for a waiter and while you like can't even like leave until you get the check, it is kind of a pull killer. So you do want to avoid that. But that said, if food is by far the path of least resistance, and if the girl legitimately is hungry, like if she's complaining actively about her stomach, try and get her at least something so that she's not complaining. But yeah, it's a little dicey. I like the opportunism though. I like the way you took and the way that you led. But yeah, think of logistical solutions to that. And actually in this case, even though I've never actually been to it, I think that taco place might have been like a good go. Because it like kind of ticks all the boxes. And these girls don't seem like the type of girls where they're like, they care about it being the like classiest, fanciest place. They seem like kind of girls that'd be down to just like do random tacos on the strip kind of thing. So that might have been a go. But yeah, I agree with all that. But overall, really, really good. Your opening game is excellent. You carry the conversation really well. You actually do the small talk stuff better than I do, which isn't saying much because I hate small talk, but it's good. And you are good as far as leading, and you're ballsy as hell about the sets you pick. The big thing I would say though is zone in more so with eye contact and more with intent on the one you actually choose within the set. And be aware of your logistics and moving it forward. And then the other thing is that the thing I kept mentioning, which is testing. Like doing little extra escalations that are safe, but like give you the information and then being willing to go with it. Because I think you have a lot of really good interactions that could go forward very well, very quickly, but you miss your windows a little too much. So I would try, don't become the guy that like becomes Mr. Super gropey aggressive or whatever, but do like in subtle ways test and see like, can you hold her hand now? Can you, can you make better eye contact? Can you like brush the hair back? See where you're at with that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think you're right on that verge of like between like very good and like really, really excellent with that.